All week long you've waited, and now it's time for Kickoff. Fighting Chance Kickoff. Starts and sits, injuries, weather, and the latest news. No hot takes, no BS, just the information you need to crush your competition. It's Fighting Chance Kickoff with Kevin Tompkins and Gary Haddow.
Good morning, beautiful world. This is Fighting Chance Kickoff. It's another beautiful morning here on Sunday. It is Fighting Chance Kickoff. I am Kevin Tompkins of FightingChanceFantasy.com, and as always, to my right on your screen is Gary Haddow, straight from underneath the blankets. My friend Gary, how are you this morning?
I'm doing much better than I was yesterday. Had a what has got a stress flu maybe, and starting to feel better today. But I got a cough drop in. And things will get a lot better. Just checking out this weather, actually. We were just talking about it, and actually it looks like that tropical storm Eta has the chance to impact the Sunday night game. We'll get to that later, but it's just interesting. Other than that, I think we're probably solid. So we'll discuss that later on in.
Sounds good, Gary. Yeah, we will definitely discuss that. Gary's out from underneath the blankets. I am out from underneath fantasy football karaoke from last night. If you didn't see that,
I saw that.
Yeah, probably a good idea. Don't, but that just means like
Place called Ocean Avenue.
Ocean Avenue was a banger back in the day.
Hell yeah, it is, dude.
My emo phase. But yeah, well, that's neither here nor there. We will get into some injuries here for week 9 to help set your lineups. Also, if you have questions, be sure to send them on to us here at KTompkinsII, at Gary Haddow 1. We've gotten a bunch already, so we certainly thank you for those. So let's get right into the injuries, Gary. We'll just start with the early slate and work our way down. Probably the most impactful injury, at least in the early slate, is Kenny Golladay with a hip injury. He will be out today. So if that's going to impact anybody, obviously, and Stafford is also going to be playing. He did was negative on his COVID test, so he will be playing. But Marvin Jones, TJ Hawkinson should get the bulk of the work there against Minnesota. But don't count out Quintez Cephas. We saw him in week 1 and 2 as the direct backup to Kenny Golladay, plus Marvin Hall is good for a couple deep shots. Anything else from that game, Gary?
No, man. I actually like Marvin Hall in this game, so let's see what happens. Hopefully I'm right. Yeah,
he's a good coin flip, basically. I mean,
yeah,
he's a good 50-50 ball kind of guy, and if you like to live dangerously, that's a pretty dangerous pick, but one that could pay off for you.
And I should clarify, that's more of like a GPP play or like a really deep, like 2, 3, 4 flex spot type thing, which most people don't play in. I think it's going to be a Marvin game, and Marvin and a Hawk, and then as you and I were talking about later, Swift probably being more involved.
Yep, absolutely. I definitely love it from Marvin. Let's get it on to quote Marvin Gaye, but let's keep going there with a quarterback injury. Gardner Minshew with a thumb injury was pretty much ruled out at the beginning of the week, so we're going to see the debut of Jake Luton coming in for the Jaguars. And yeah, that's going to affect DJ Chark. That's going to affect Laviska Shenault. Granted, they are going up against the 31st ranked Houston defense. How are you approaching the Jaguars pass catchers and even James Robinson in that offense?
I don't know. I want to do everything I can to fade every Jag with the exception of Robinson. We have no idea what the heck to do. If you're betting on Lightning striking twice with a late round QB in the draft somehow hitting, I mean, the odds were already so stacked against Minshew. To have it happen a second time would be amazing, but also just it's non-existent almost. So, plus I think that the Texans defense, while their stats on paper are terrible, I think that they're actually better than we think they are. They have pieces there that can attack a rookie, and it's not as if there's any burners on the Jaguars team. Like Chark with Minshew was receiver 3. It wasn't anything above that. So Robinson definitely start. He's set and forget. If he has a down week, that sucks. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Robinson can do with him carrying the team.
Yeah, absolutely. That should be fun. We'll see if Luton can do anything of note today. Granted, he does have a good defense to do that against, like I said, the 31st ranked defense in Houston. So that could be a sneaky shootout if Luton can find some rhythm there. Let's go over to Baltimore, where Mark Ingram is out again with an ankle injury. So nothing new really from last week. You're going to be starting Gus Edwards. You're going to be starting J.K. Dobbins. Not really much to talk about there. Dobbins, he's going to be getting a bulk of that passing down work. Edwards is pretty non-existent in the passing game, so you can really lean toward Dobbins in that. But both are, I would say quality starts. Dobbin more that low end RB2. Say Gus Edwards is pretty good flex. What do you think, Gary?
Yeah, I actually really like both. I'm having trouble who I'd rank above the other. I really, again, just want to see Dobbins continue to get more work. But Gus Bus just looks awesome on the ground. So to me, it's just a matter of how many inside the 5 touches is Gus going to be able to get, and can the Colts offense stay in this game significantly enough to, have it be competitive? I don't know. I can't map out in my head what this game script is going to be, and if it's going to favor Dobbins or if it's going to favor Gus. I would probably lean it's going to favor Gus just because the Baltimore defense is fantastic. And I think they got a lot of their players back, not all of them, but a lot of them. So we'll see how it goes, but I don't really know who to trust on the Colts offense. We talked about that on Wednesday. So that always just kind of makes me feel like this is going to be a game where Baltimore kind of reestablishes themselves as one of the better teams in the AFC.
Yeah, this is a game. When I'm looking at it, I want Lamar Jackson has been in the weeds for far too long. I think this is going to be a game where they get that facet of their offense going, and that's going to help spark the run. They have not looked like themselves, and they are not the fantasy offense that they were last year. I mean, that might have been maybe unprecedented a little bit just because of the MVP season Lamar Jackson had, but he's certainly better than what he's shown this year, especially for fantasy purposes. I mean, he's outside of the top 12. So,
did you reference the big news for the team?
I did not. I'll let you take the reins on that one.
So Dez Bryant has been activated from the practice squad. We in 1 week we are seeing Antonio Brown and Dez Bryant coming back to the NFL, returning to not starting for teams, but at least being part of their active roster. Like, this is going to be a wild day. Just check your dynasty rosters. If you happen to have a bench spot that you can drop, like, they need someone like a Dez on that team. They have Mandrews and they have Hollywood Brown. And other than that, they don't really have much. So Dez could provide that spark that gives them just, a deeper threat that can really just go up and get high point catches and stuff, especially in the red zone.
Is he going to throw up the X today?
If I'm Lamar and if I'm Tom, I am making a concerted effort to get these guys touchdowns just to say welcome back. But at the same time, like, maybe the coaches are like, we activated them just in case, but we're not going to do much with them.
What year is this, man?
I know.
We got Alex Collins coming back. We're going to talk about that right now, actually, with Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde both out. DJ Dallas is going to get another, start today, but he's going to have Travis Homer mixed in a lot more. I feel like last week was more of an injury or emergency capacity, but he's much healthier now, so he should get a lot more of that passing down, third down work. But Alex Collins, straight out of 2017, is coming back to take, I would guess, a little bit of the work. We saw him with Baltimore a few years ago, and he was solid. I could not even believe this. He's only 26 years old still.
Yeah.
Like,
I absolutely loved him.
I thought he was like 34. Like, I'm not even kidding. He's one of those guys that feels like he's been in the league since 2009. So, I mean, Alex Collins, if you're going to speculate, if you're in a deeper league, maybe he's worth adding or even keeping on a watch list. But, this could shake out kind of weird, with DJ Dallas being not getting those touches, but not being super efficient with them. Travis Homer may not be able to carve out enough of a role to be relevant, but he's still going to eat into it. But Alex Collins is an absolute wild card in this. He could get 18 carries. He could get 2. So, we'll see what happens with that. But Pete Carroll wants to get him more involved. So we'll see what happens with that. And then
I really like Dallas. I just want to say that. I really like DJ Dallas this week. I think that the Bills can be run on. And last week, I've heard a lot of people talk about DJ Dallas and his inefficiency on the ground, 18 for 41 and a touch, and then he did some stuff in the air and with a touchdown. The Niners have like one of the best rush defenses, one of the better rush defenses in the NFL. I think that was just a byproduct, plus just the nerves of being like your first time as a rookie starter. I think that he is going to be a strong focal point of that offense. I'm not nervous about Homer, and I'm definitely not nervous about Alex Collins.
Yeah, I mean, that Seattle, they're going to be running, through a little bit, trying to get that going. But, with them, I mean, they're going up. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Buffalo.
They're playing. That's right. They're playing Buffalo. In Buffalo. So
in Buffalo.
Yeah. So that's going to be a little bit tougher. Of a matchup, though Buffalo can be run on. So we'll see how that split goes between the pass and run there. And then one more injury. Devontae Freeman is out, so it's going to be Wayne Gallman getting the start against the old football teamers in Washington. He's really more of a flex play for me. You could see some, Deion Lewis and Alfred Morris, the ghost of Alfred Morris, get a little bit of run there, but he's definitely a flex option with not a lot of upside, at least for me. I don't know if you feel the same, Gary.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same. So I would just roll with it that way.
Yeah. And then some of the questionable tags, and the big one for me is Calvin Ridley in the early slate with a mid-foot injury. From what I understand, he wants to give it a go, but the last time he was hurt and wanted to give it a go, he was pretty much non-existent from the stat sheet. So that's something I'm very concerned about as a someone who rosters Calvin Ridley. If I have someone solid enough, I'm taking him out of my lineup today. How are you feeling about that, Gary?
I agree. I think Russell Gage is a little bit more in play. This always is a little bit of a bump for Hurst. Again, Denver's defense is solid. So to me, the biggest boost goes to Julio. I'm looking to see what they can do with him. I'm always nervous if any player is going to play with that type of injury. So I would, it's hard to ever sit him, but hopefully they just put him out and you don't have to worry about it. But who knows if that'll happen.
Right. And I know a deeper add in that instance, too, is Christian Blake, who, if Ridley is, hobbled, if he comes out of the game, if he's playing, maybe he's a decoy, but running those routes likely will be in his stead will be Christian Blake. That could be a deeper guy, a very deep guy to keep an eye on. But I'm not starting him certainly over any of those guys. I don't have him ranked right now just because I'm not sure of, it's tough. It really is, especially this time of year where you're trying to stack up wins and get into playoff contention. And Calvin Ridley is your, third round pick who's been awesome all year when he has played. So, that's what makes this tough. But, I would side on the air of caution with, if you have somebody that's solid enough, week in, week out producer that just happens to be on your bench, wide receiver, put him in your flex and just, be very cautious with that. Those foot injuries can linger, and if they get him out there and he aggravates it, there you go. He's gone for a month. So,
and as of right now, it's a couple outlets are saying he is expected to miss the game. So that's from NBC Sports and a couple other spots. So I assume that Ridley is out. Get him out of your lineup.
Yeah, and we'll get official word here in about a half an hour or so. We'll certainly keep that.
Yeah.
Keep tabs on that for you guys. Also questionable, Sammy Watkins for the Kansas City Chiefs, the hamstring. That's really nothing new. I don't think he's going to play this game. Again, we'll get word on that officially in about a half an hour because he has been on that wrong. So he hasn't played in the last few games. For Denver, Philip Lindsay should be playing. He does have a foot injury, though, as well. Tim Patrick is a game-time decision as well with his hamstring. So that's going to certainly impact that game there against Atlanta. Tim Patrick was solid a few weeks ago. Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, those guys have stepped in and done pretty well. Philip Lindsay's definitely big because, if Philip Lindsay's playing, he's going to be getting probably 10 to 12 touches more,
Yeah.
splitting with Melvin Gordon. So that's something to keep an eye on there. The afternoon slate is where your big injuries have really cropped up here. Josh Jacobs has a knee and an illness. He's questionable, but everything I've seen says he's gonna play today. I haven't seen anything really detracting from that. But Keenan Allen popped up with an illness. He's gonna likely get in there and suit up. Haven't seen anything detracting from that. But then a wild card for me is Ezekiel Elliott with a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
That's raises a lot of questions in a pretty suspect matchup against Pittsburgh. How are you feeling about Tony Pollard in this environment with Garrett Gilbert starting? I don't even know what to make of it, honestly. I mean, what do you think, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if Zeke's out, you're starting Pollard just as a RB3 flex, just given the QB situation and going up against the Steelers. But Pollard has shown what he can do. He's always looked pretty damn good when he's given the ball, even in short spurts. I'm not betting on him in any tournament style thing just because I think his upside is extremely capped. But you can do worse at your kind of RB3 flex spot.
Yeah, I agree. Because all it takes is one for a player like Tony Pollard to just get it, maybe take a screen and get the ball in space, and he's off to the races. So, yeah, that's somebody I'm definitely looking to as well. I have him in a couple leagues too, where just injuries have killed me, so that might be a start for me there. And then for the Sunday night game, Michael Thomas is actually going to play a National Football League game. Sound the alarm. All reports are saying that Michael Thomas is slated to play. We'll see if that actually happens. I'll believe it when I see him on there. And then on the other side, Chris Godwin should be playing. Bruce Arians said everything, but he's going to play. And I think he actually did say he's going to play. So that finger injury, he should be good to go. And then one more quick note. Damian Harris in the Monday night game has an ankle injury, and he is a game-time decision, but trending toward playing. But, it is against the Jets. We'll see what happens with that, but that's something to keep an eye on with your lineups. Anything else to add, Gary, before we go into questions here?
Yeah, Manny Sanders is back in. He is off the COVID list, so he'll be playing. Keenan Allen, if he didn't address it earlier, like he had some sort of an illness, but it sounds like he's going to be playing, so that's always a good thing. And I mean, Herbert, just in general, dude just stays on fire. So it's going to be a fun slate of games today. I'm looking forward to it. Some unique twists and stuff here, but which we'll get into some of these questions, and they kind of fall in with these twists.
Yep. Yeah, Justin Herbert, truly, just like the Hunger Games, he is the man on fire. So let's get into some questions here. Let's start with our good friend Axel here, who joins us every week, and certainly appreciate that, my friend. Axel asks, Nick Foles, Jake Luton, or Drew Lock for a QB2? And for me, this is easy.
Yeah.
Drew Lock.
Yep, we both agree.
Yeah. I will say, though, I do like Nick Foles in this game because Tennessee can't pressure anybody. So I do like him being able to maybe sit back a little bit more and actually get something behind his throws rather than running like a chicken with his head cut off against, Chicago's line has not been great. They have been racked by injuries, but
And COVID.
Yeah.
They're like decimated right now, actually, I think.
Yeah, I believe they're on their third string center from what I saw. So
I think that the coaching tape after last week's game going up against almost all backups, I actually think Tennessee is going to come out and just destroy Nick Foles, try and get to him as much as possible. So be a heavy Montgomery game. Allen Robinson has a tough matchup, so we might start seeing a little bit more of Graham Miller and Mooney just trying to get faster stuff out, but it's hard to ever contain Allen Robinson. Drew Lock 100%, so we don't even need to worry about that. But Foles, I'm benching everywhere I can.
Interesting. Would you take Foles or Luton in that game, though? I'll ask you that.
I would take Foles because I'm not. Yeah, Luton's not. Did anybody start Minshew like in his first start? I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, I guess, because Minshew did well against Kansas City, but that he didn't start. That was what week 1 last year,
Right.
and so
Was his first start? Was that the one against Cleveland?
I can't remember. I only just
I
remember
think
the
it was
Kansas
a
City game.
I feel like it was a Thursday night game, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was that game against Cleveland, where nobody wanted to watch that matchup except for degenerates and So yeah, I feel like I remember that game, and that's where a lot of those gifts came from. Anyway, we'll press forward here. Bow. If I'm butchering that, I'm so sorry. Moss, Lindsay, Harris, Dallas. Pick 2 running backs, PPR, and bonus for big play and 100 plus yard.
I get to pick 2. That's easy then. It's going to be Dallas and Moss.
Yeah, Moss is definitely in there, and so let's see, Damian Harris, Philip Lindsay, DJ. Yeah, I'm gonna go with DJ Dallas on that too. I think he's gonna have much more opportunity than the other guys too. I think Damian Harris, if he's gonna get in there and if he's healthy with his ankle, I think he's gonna be salting away a lot of that game. So I don't think he's gonna be able to get those big plays, 100 yards. Lindsey's gonna be in that split if he's playing too. Yeah, it could be Dallas and Moss there. I like both of those in that. So thank you for that question, my friend. Axel back in with Henry Ruggs, Hollywood Brown, or Denzel Mims for wide receiver 3 in PPR.
Not Mims. And Hollywood or Ruggs. Man,
Hollywood.
they're like, yeah, they're pretty close for me though. I think I would take Ruggs. I would take Ruggs if I was expecting to lose, and I would take Hollywood if it was a closer game, because I think Ruggs has more of a likelihood of doing like a 71-yard touchdown than Hollywood, but Hollywood has a higher floor.
I just think he's got to get off. Like Hollywood, all the peripherals are there. His target share, his air yard share, he is, getting work in that offense. It just has not shown up the way we've been expecting guys with those peripherals to pop off. I believe he only has 2 touchdowns on the year. He had his only catch last week for a touchdown, 1 yard for 3-yard touchdown. So, I think they're going to make that concerted effort against Indianapolis to get him just deep, and he can do that against Rocky Sin. So I'm going to go with Hollywood Brown here. I think he's a slam dunk this week. I think he's going to vastly outperform wide receiver, your wide receiver 3 spot.
He is more of a sure thing, so I will concede and say yes, go with Hollywood. But in terms of, we talked about game script and how difficult it's going to be to know the Colts Ravens game script, whereas Vegas and LA, like, that's going to be a shootout. Watch it be a complete flip from that, but whatever. So go with Hollywood, and we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me
wrong. I like Ruggs, so
yeah, I do too. But yeah, I feel like they tend to spread the ball out a little bit more too. Hollywood's got that condensed target tree too, or at least the Ravens do. So that's what's going to lead me toward. It's got to be one of these weeks for Hollywood Brown and the Ravens offense, passing game in general. For Phil here, good morning, my friend. Rojo or Deontay Johnson, half-point PPR, already playing the nickelback, number 4 net. Got to go Deontay Johnson here.
Yeah, I think you got to go Deontay.
You can't. At this point, I can't trust Ronald Jones. Can't trust Bruce Arians with his passing game or with his run game. But I mean, I think Leonard Fournette's at least a low end RB2, and Rojo is kind of. He gets in that doghouse, man. I mean, he only got what 12 snaps, I think it was, after he fumbled the entire game. That was after the second quarter. I mean, but the thing is, who knows if Leonard Fournette, coughs the wrong way, he could be out for the game as well. So I mean, geez, we'll see. But yeah, I think Deontay Johnson is the definitely more rock solid play here, and that's saying something because it seems like every game he goes in, I always get that notification: Deontay Johnson blank, questionable to return, and then doesn't return, and then you're stuck with 0.3 points.
Yep.
That is
Completely agree.
That is the story of 2020 Deontay Johnson, but I do like him in that matchup. I got some questions for you too, Gary, unless you have some more for me, unless you want to just.
You go first, and I'll bring mine in after.
Look at that. Chivalry is not dead, ladies and gentlemen. Corey Davis or Jonathan Taylor? PPR.
Corey Davis. I actually like Corey Davis this week.
Yeah. What a world we live in. I mean,
yeah.
It's
so strange.
I know, right? It's 2020. Can you expect anything less? Yeah, Corey Davis. I mean, Jonathan Taylor he's got to show something because right now he's in a three-headed backfield, and unless someone separates, it's going to be hell for all three.
I thought he was banged up.
He is banged up. He's got an ankle injury too.
Yeah, so I mean, that to me is where you go, Corey. I think AJ Brown will, get the primary coverage, so Corey Davis is always going to have a little bit softer on him. So I'm comfortable with Corey Davis there. Yeah. Ultimately, it's a win-win. Like if you choose wrong, at least Jonathan Taylor showed up. But right now, I'm not betting on him to show up.
Yeah, that's a pretty it's a risky proposition there. Axel back in with Anthony Ferkser, Albert Akui-Bunam, or Irv Smith for tight end 2.
Albert, man, go with the game that's more likely to be a shootout. I think he had a touchdown last week. He's been showing up, so I'm all about it.
Yeah, I would say put on your O face, but then we'll get a strike on our YouTube. Oops, I said it anyway. Alberto, definitely. He's worked his way into that offense, man. I mean, I haven't looked at the 12 personnel numbers, but if that's something that they're interested in doing, if they haven't already done it, that can make that Denver offense very interesting. If they're playing 12 personnel with 2 wide, 2 tight end, that's just more weapons for Drew Lock. I mean, as if he needs more, he just they just need to get healthy. Let's go back to Phil here. Defense for next week: Philly versus the Giants, Houston versus the Browns. I go with Philly here.
Man, I thought I would say Philly. I want to know if so. Chubb's coming back next week. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's
the
scuttlebutt.
The one thing that you can debate on is Baker was put on the COVID list because he was in close contact with someone who tested positive. Yeah. So if you think that there's a chance that you can pick up Philly later but get Houston now, you could make that pivot once Baker gets cleared again, although I'm not sure if it'll matter if Chubb and Hunt are both playing. So yeah, I go with Philly. They have the higher upside for sacks and turnovers,
Jones fumbles.
Yeah, or 79-yard touchdown negated falling over runs.
He has the Texans for this week, so yeah, I would just put in a claim for the Eagles. I think they'll be locked in. I haven't looked at the slate, but with the Giants matchup, they're probably easy in my top 6 next week.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley is officially out.
All right, yeah, get him out of your lineups. Put somebody else in, but do not start Calvin Ridley. He is out. All right, pick 2, Gary. Ready? Darius Slayton, Devontae Parker, Darnell Mooney, John Brown.
Slayton, Mooney, John Brown, Parker.
Yep.
John Brown. Slayton? Not as convinced, but Slayton.
No,
that Mooney's my big debate. I like Mooney this week.
Are you starting to warm up to the Moondog?
No, yeah, I totally am. I like that he's getting his targets and all that stuff. I wish I had a more concrete idea in my head, because this past week the fantasy news has been a little away from me, and that's how many players on Chicago's offensive line are actually out.
Yeah, that
It
is
changes a
something to
lot.
ponder. Yeah, that's something to ponder, certainly, and that's probably affected a lot of their offense even more than Nick Foles being not great either. So, yeah,
And they weren't out last week, and if I'm saying the right name, Simmons on the Titans defense, they're kind of
Jeffrey
like
Simmons. Yep.
Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah. Dude's been pretty legit. And then they have Jadeveon Clowney. Like, at some point you get your shit together. And I think you get your shit together after you get reamed by your coaching staff as to what happened against that Bengals game. So, I'm gonna default to Slayton in a division game rather than just hoping that Mooney pops. But if you feel strongly about Mooney over anyone, then go for it. But John Brown for sure. I like John Brown this week.
Yeah. My two actually were Slayton and Brown.
Okay.
But Mooney is Mooney is very close to those two for me though. But I would go Slayton there. I think it's gonna be a really good game for Sterling Shepard too. For the Giants, I think he's been getting a lot of work, and Tate's going to be deactivated. Or I don't know if he's out. I don't know if he's quite deactivated yet, but he's on his way to the way things are going for New York. We got a question on Twitter as well from Austin Lumen at Austin Lumen. Le'Veon Bell, start two. Le'Veon Bell, Devin Singletary, Damian Harris.
Oh. How close do you think Harris is to playing?
I'd say he's likely to play. Haven't seen anything where he's really been on the wrong side of questionable.
Okay, then Singletary and Harris.
Yeah, I think that's solid too.
People are too high on Bell right now. I've heard a lot of the opposite. People being like, you're too low, but it's like they didn't do it against the Jets. So like, when are they going to give him that run? I guess he's new to the team and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm not starting him until I see it. And the other two are actually integrated into their offense.
Yeah, see, I think, with Le'Veon Bell, I think his best is yet to come with that. And, I put last week's Kevin just away. He's gone. He's away for the winter, who was so high on Le'Veon Bell and him getting that run. I put him away, so don't have to worry about that for here. This week, not as high, certainly not as high as him as I am on at least Singletary for this and Damian Harris. Here's one for you: Des Bryant or Ronald Jones?
Ronald Jones.
Is this? Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton is out.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it seemed like that.
Yeah, he's been doubtful the whole year. So, and that's not even on an injury report.
Let's get to Axel's question, because I'm curious what your answer is. I have my own answer, and we will see.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, or David Montgomery in standard. You're asking for mine? All right, so let's at Minnesota. Jeez. Okay, I'm taking Taylor out of this. It's
okay.
Montgomery and Swift.
Yep.
Honestly, give me Swift.
Okay, I thought you would say that, and I'm curious.
Care for the, I don't know.
So before this show started, I texted Kevin and said, Kevin, why do you have Swift above Dobbins, above DJ Dallas? And we haven't had a chance to actually talk about it. So being down by 3 touchdowns, Swift was barely involved in the passing game last week, which is where you would think he would get some of his push or some of his run, whatever, his points. He only got 3 receptions. I don't know what his target count was. I went to go look at it. I've already forgotten. I apologize. Lots of medication. He was 3 for 22. Whereas David Montgomery has the 3rd highest target count at the running back position. And so if you are going to, like, I think, have the Titans, running through turnstiles on that offensive line, David Montgomery is probably going to get more dump offs given who is in that offense. Total narrative, little bit of some stat there, but that. So I'm going Montgomery.
And my reasoning for Swift, I like the Lions to get, because Darrell Bevel with that offense, they have not been, the well-oiled machine, at least in the passing game that they've been. Now they're down Galladay. So now they're Marvin Jones, they're Quintus Cephas, they're Marvin Hall, they're Hawkinson. I think this is a week where they can certainly get a little bit going again in the run game, and I think DeAndre Swift has good upside for a long touchdown or extended run, some carries 10 to 15 yards here and there. I think this is going to be a game where, dare I say it, the Lions establish the run more than any other game, really, based on who they have in their personnel right now. So is that going to mean that Adrian Peterson is more involved? Probably. But I think DeAndre Swift is way higher upside than Peterson or Kerryon Johnson. So if anybody is going to be leading the charge with that offensive philosophy today against Minnesota, I think it's going to be DeAndre Swift, carrying the brunt of that and being the high upside part of that backfield.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, just because I say that, Kerryon Johnson's going 20 for 90 for 2 touchdowns. So that's fantasy football right there.
Yeah.
Let me take a look here. I have some more questions here for you. Pick 3. All right. I'm going to throw a few names at you here. Mike Williams, DJ Moore, McLaurin, Justin Jackson, Robbie Anderson, Brandon Cooks.
Pick 3 of those?
Yes.
Williams,
I'll write them. I'll post them up right here if you want.
No, here, say him again. Sorry, I was picking up Daz in the league. Mike Williams,
DJ Moore, McLaurin, Justin Jackson, Robbie Anderson, Brandon Cooks.
My debate is between Anderson and Cooks, and I think I like Anderson more, despite what Cooks did against Jacksonville last time. I just don't know if the game script's there for it. So it would be Robbie, Justin Jackson, and McLaurin. We've already said McLaurin's matchup proof. So I didn't know that we could do that. That's exciting. I'm nervous about Mike Williams. He's just too, is it his game? Is it not? Who knows? DJ Moore, because of the others, doesn't need to be there. So it becomes McLaurin, Justin Jackson, and then Anderson or Cooks. And I would lean Anderson over Cooks right now.
So my 3 is McLaurin, Jackson, and I would go with Robbie Anderson here.
Yeah, so we're in agreement.
Yep. So I think McLaurin, he's a set and forget guy. You're starting him each week. I mean, he had a really good game against Wayne. I'm blanking for Bradbury for the Giants. So I think he can do that again.
Yeah.
He had 12. I think it was 12.7 fantasy points. In that week, so week 6. So I think he's a solid bet at least this week.
I got one for you.
Go ahead.
Chase Claypool or Deontay Johnson? Half point.
Deontay.
Man, I just can't do it. I feel like even if they're up, Chase will have more. I shouldn't have asked. I thought you were going to say Deontay. I just think that Chase is going to have more touches that aren't just passes.
Chase is tough because we're all chasing that next big game since he had those 4 touchdowns. And he's been solid, but that's one thing we got to start maybe separating a little more, is that maybe these games were more one-offs than the expectation. Because as much as I do like Chase Claypool, we're all playing him and putting him in our top 20s, just expecting, all of this every week when they have all these targets to target, like Deontay Johnson, like Juju Smith-Schuster, like James Conner, like, Eric Ebron. We have all these guys in this offense. So, it's tough.
Let's have a conversation then. Deontay started 6 for 57, 8 for 92 and 1. Got injured 2 weeks in a row, so those were nothing. 9 for 80 and 2. Last week, 1 for 6. Whereas Claypool was 2 for 39, 3 for 88 and 1. 1 for 24, 7 for 150, and 3 plus the other stuff. And then 4 for 74 with a rushing touchdown, 1 for -2, and then 5 for 42 and 1. Which one has more consistency? Right now, it's Chase. The problem is Deontay got injured 2 weeks in a row, and we still have no idea how if he happens to just be injury prone. So I have no idea what to do here. It's very confusing. I even thought, oh, Chase gets more carries and stuff. He hasn't had a carry in 2 games, so I don't even know if that's the case. But man, it's tough because I just happen to have to start Roethlisberger, Connor, and then either Chase or Deontay.
It's tough in these Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver streets,
Yeah.
man. That's welcome to fantasy because Chase Claypool, like I said, everybody's chasing that next big Chase Claypool week, and we're chasing Deontay Johnson's health apparently each week now too, because like I said before, he has a hangnail and he's questionable return, and then he's finally out, in the second quarter, and then you're just stuck holding the bag. So
yeah,
that's what's tough. But when Deontay Johnson is starting, when he is playing, he is a mid to high end wide receiver too.
I would be so mad at you.
Are you putting him in your lineup?
Yeah, I told you all season that I go based off what you say. And in this league, I suck in this league. Well, this happened this particular year, so we're gonna go for it.
Well, Gary, I want to apologize in advance then.
No, you're good. I'm sorry to Deontay in other leagues. That's why I was debating on just hedging my bet. I got a question from Brian Drake of Fighting Chance Fantasy. He's in a hole because he started Tunyon and Jordan Reed. His QB is Tannehill versus the Bears. Should he pivot to Locke versus Atlanta or Stafford versus Minnesota? So his team is already in a hole. Do you do Tannehill, Locke, or Stafford? 6 point per passing and 0.25 per completion.
Jeez. Tannehill's tough. Chicago is tough. But I do think that game. I honestly think I might be one of the only people that thinks this, and I'm totally be wrong. But just based on that, I think that game is going to be more neutral game script, and the Bears and Titans pace very highly in neutral game script. So I think there's going to be a lot of plays there. That's why I like Nick Foles a lot more this week. Because when the Bears are a neutral game script, they're top 8 in pace. They run plays per game. So that's why I do like that, and I do like since Tennessee cannot pressure very well. They didn't pressure Burrow at all last week. I think Nick Foles is going to have more time to be able to get off those deep shots. Now, point per completion definitely puts that wrinkle in that, and that's also what Locke and Tannehill. I think I might see the Lock, but I'm not super comfortable with it, but I just think that offensive environment's going to just lead to, 6-point touchdowns. I think Lock's good for, I don't want to say he's a lock, but I think he's good for at least 2 to 3, 280 yards. Completions are the tough part, though, but Atlanta can be thrown on.
Yeah.
I mean, Judy led the league in air yards last week. He's still got Hamler. He's still got Noah Fant should have a big game. Noah Fant is a lock top 6 tight end this week. So, and Albert O is going to be involved as well. Give me Locke.
Yeah, I agree. I said Locke. I think he has the highest upside. Stafford has too much downside, and Tannehill has ambiguity enough to not know.
Gary, I just want to ask you one more thing on a personal note. Are you surprised that I have not mentioned the Packers-Niners thing at all?
Oh, you can. I mean, I was talking to my other buddy who we talk a lot of smack whenever it's between the Niners and Packers, and I was like, I don't even want to talk about it just because you guys beat up a kindergarten team.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't mention it because I want to beat the 40. If I'm the Packers, I want to beat the 49ers at full strength. I don't want to beat the Mickey Mouseketeers.
Yeah.
On Thursday night.
Totally. I mean, it's cute that you think you guys could, but yeah.
Got to get some measure of revenge, but yeah. So that's a true story, by the way. Obviously, I'm a Packer fan. Gary is a 49ers fan. I have not mentioned this once until this moment.
You are always welcome to bring it up. I'm not ever going to be a sore loser when it comes to that stuff. I'll be pissed off if they lose, like the Seahawks or something, but it's not between friends. It's a very different thing. I'll just be a sourpuss, and my wife has to deal with it.
Well, yeah, let's let her deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adam Thielen, J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson, or Justin Jefferson for Axel here in the flex.
I'm split between Thielen and Gibson.
I'm split between Thielen and Jefferson.
Yeah, I think I would just go with Thielen for the safety of it. And it's not as if like the Lions secondary is anything to be concerned about.
They're not.
I do like Gibson a lot, though. Dobbins is just, I think he just has a lower ceiling.
He threw a wrinkle in there. And I know this is in the league where he's got Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
And so it always comes around this time at 10:40.
Yep. Still waiting for his second defense question.
Yeah, the Edmonton Eskimos or the Calgary Stampeders. We'll see about that. But I got a question here from fellow Fargonian Ben Saylor on Twitter. Is DJ Chark worth starting with whichever FedEx driver is throwing footballs in Jacksonville this week?
Is who worth starting?
DJ Chark.
No. I mean, a question like this is always impossible to answer without the context. Like, who else would you be starting? But I would guarantee there's a lot of people that you probably could be starting over him. He's probably not available, but like a Cole Beasley or something like that. I'm almost going to say like even like a Keelan Cole, but on the same team, I think I might even rather start him. But let's just move on. Pretend I didn't say that.
Yeah, I will just say I do have Chark at wide receiver 40 this week. So he is basically on the flex radar for me. You're pretty much starting him almost because you have to in some leagues.
Yeah.
But I have him in the range of like Preston Williams and Nelson Aguilar. So that should tell you about how I feel about DJ Chark. And this is a guy who was on the rooftops about DJ Chark, and it hurts my heart to have to do this to the man. But yeah, quarterback change. He hasn't played well no matter who's the quarterback. He's getting the targets, but if you're not doing anything with him, aka early season Logan Thomas, I mean, what can you do?
I would love to start Nelson Aguilar over DJ Chark. I have a league right now that I'm just realized I had Chris Carson in the lineup and I have DJ Chark, and I'm just like, man, I have no idea what to do here. I need to find a wide receiver to put in over them, pretty much over both these guys actually.
He would love to, but will he?
If he has Nelson Aguilar, he should start him.
Who might be available? Who probably is available? Honestly, let's get it.
Those are always like so tough, right? To figure out who could even be available. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Let's with Axel's question here: defense, Broncos, Bills, Vikes for second defense.
Broncos, Bills, Vikings,
Getting the Bills out of there against Seattle.
Yeah.
I'll get it, Broncos or Vikings, and I think I'm going to take the Vikings here.
Yeah, I'll probably take the Vikings.
Yeah, I trust them much more against the Lions, versus Broncos and Falcons. So, we haven't seen that Matt Ryan, 2 interception, 1 fumble game, and then he has to furiously get back his fantasy value in the fourth quarter. We haven't seen that in a little bit, so hey, who knows? We could see it. Could see it today. I got a couple questions for you, if you're ready.
I am.
Jacoby Myers or Marvin Jones?
Marvin Jones, like not even close.
Yeah, me too. But I love Jacoby Myers lately, and I think he's going to have another smash game this week against the Jets. So If you've got him, if you're thinking about him, I really like that play. I think he's a low end wide receiver 2 to high end wide receiver 3 this week. Based on the fact that who else do they have? And it's the Jets. And,
Yeah.
Even Cam Newton can figure that one out, I think. I would hope. Chiefs D or Cardinals D? Chiefs against Carolina, Cardinals against Miami.
I am going Cardinals. I prefer the Cardinals, but that just might be my DFS slant coming in here. I have no problem starting the Chiefs defense. I'm not going to make a move if I happen to have both of them. Then I'm probably going to go with the Cardinals just because we still don't know what Tua is. And we know that with CMC back, with those wide receivers, with Teddy's ability to kind of make plays, that they should score more points.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because if the Chiefs get up big on Carolina, then that's just going to open up Teddy to be able to just throw the ball over, picks, fumbles, etc. That's the thesis of your Chiefs D right there, and why you're playing them is you're hoping the Chiefs get up and then force the opposing offenses into making mistakes, and then pick sixes come from that, whatever. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here, but the Cardinals D against Miami, I do like that play. Let me take a look. Where do I even have them? I feel like I have them higher too. They're my number 6 defense. Chiefs I have at number 4, so they're both quality starts this week. Here's one for you: Justin Herbert or Deshaun Watson.
Justin Herbert. I just don't know how you put anybody in over Justin Herbert right now. Not anybody, but there's a strong likelihood that that's a David Johnson game in Houston. So
yeah, I agree. I had David Johnson in one of my DFS lineups in my flex, so I really like David Johnson. And this is a guy who doesn't like David Johnson all that much. Our weekly kicker question from Axel: Graham Gano, Kaimi Fairbairn, or Jason Sanders for my second kicker spot.
Off the top of your head, do you know what teams they all play for?
Gano, Giants; Fairbairn, Texans; Sanders, Dolphins.
Yeah, I did not know that. I knew Fairbairn. And you said Sanders is the Dolphins?
Yes.
Yeah, we went with Sanders then. In the dome.
Yeah. I'd go with Sanders is there as well too. I think he's been top 8 this year, if I'm not mistaken. As far as kicker rankings, I think he's top 8 overall.
I'm pivoting to Fairbairn. I don't trust Tua to be able to move the offense, and they don't have Gaskins. I'm nervous that their offense is going to be totally inept.
If they get field position, though, if they stall, there you go. They only have to move the ball.
That's true.
Bit. Yeah.
Still going with Fairbairn.
They just have to get the ball into the opponent's, the opposing side of the field 3 times for him to make his money. That's all they have to do. Let Sanders kick a 50 and a 40, and there's 9 points for you. Score a touchdown, there's your double digits.
Listen to Kevin on this one probably, but I'm going Fairbairn.
I don't get paid for my kicker takes, trust me. Or anything.
I don't know if anybody does.
No. Let's see here. DJ Moore or Leonard Fournette?
I don't see the Fournette. I don't know. I don't get the Fournette run here. I've heard a lot of people, I think they're just super down on Rojo because he got benched, but I think that's a super split backfield. Honestly, you're probably taking Fournette for a floor. I don't even know. I don't know. I'm taking DJ Moore regardless.
Okay. Yeah, I'd take DJ Moore, but there always is that DJ Moore blow up game that could happen. We'll see what happens with that. But I have a question straight out of the DMs from Pittsburgh Pirate Jameson Tyon. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
All right. So Ridley is out for him. He has Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen at wide receiver. So for flex, he can do Jerry Jeudy, Christian Kirk, or Nyheim Hines.
I actually like Nyheim Hines in this game. It might be a little bit more risky, but with Taylor a little banged up and what we think will be a competitive game, I think they will use Hines more, even if it's almost a three-headed monster with Wilkins in there. With Christian Kirk, you're just hoping that he connects on those shots, and he luckily has. But in terms of from a metrics point of view, like that, something's got to give at some point with the few targets that he's getting. And then Jerry Jeudy.
I
do like Jerry Jeudy.
Slam dunk.
Yeah, I'll start Jerry Jeudy. I'm sorry. I'll pivot to that. Yeah, let's start Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, number 1 in air yards last week, and going up against the Falcons this week with Drew Lock in DGAF mode. I definitely like Jerry Jeudy this week. He's starting to remember he was the deep threat in Alabama, not Henry Ruggs. So that's something he's definitely used to being. Those deep shots. We know he can run the routes. He's a multifaceted receiver, but that's something that he's used to doing, and they could be getting him more involved in that way too. It's only going to up his, raise his upside.
Yeah. I do fully agree.
Yeah. Deontay Johnson or Jerry Jeudy?
It's hard to not ever start Deontay Johnson, as we discussed earlier. Whew. I'm gonna go with Jerry Jeudy.
See, that's tough for me, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I had them back to back in my rankings, but I had Deontay Johnson over Jeudy. But now I'm rethinking that because I really do like Jeudy. That's tough. That's a coin flip for me, honestly.
Like, you really are hoping that Deontay catches an early touchdown, because this is going to be almost like a Connor Snell game, because they should, in theory, the Steelers defense just destroy Dallas. Like, not even a chance to move the ball. So bad, Dallas.
Yeah, that is my thesis there as far as like Roethlisberger. I wrote about him in my Start Sits and Sleepers article this week. I mean, in this matchup, I love Ben Roethlisberger, but how much are they really going to need him? That's why I have Connor as my RB2 overall this week.
Yeah.
So, Axel is back with a trade offer here. David Johnson for Michael Thomas in standard. Chubb and Miles Sanders. I'm making that move. To
get MT, yeah, I would trade to get Michael Thomas for sure.
Yeah.
If you're I'm nervous that you're saying it's the opposite way, and that's why you're referencing Chubb and Sanders. But like, Chubb and Sanders will be back. They should be next week. There was some Sanders news earlier, but I think that it was positive for next week.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got Chubb and Sanders and you're dangling out David Johnson, and clearly whoever has Michael Thomas is trading Johnson.
Yeah, then you're good.
Yeah, I would do it right now. Smash.
Before the game starts.
Yeah. Well, one caveat with that, if you need him this week, do it in like what, an hour and 1 minute. When the lineups lock, do it. Or, well, actually, I don't know if you can. Depends on the league, but I'm definitely doing that 100%.
Yes.
I got some rapid fire ones if you want to.
Let's do it
real quick. All right, Darnell Mooney or Christian Kirk?
It's not so rapid fire, dude. I'm gonna go with Mooney just because I trust Xavier Howard and Byron Jones a lot.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Those being the cornerbacks that are going against the Cardinals. Those are the two guys I just referenced. Not for you, for anybody else that's like, I don't know. I realize that we never provide positions or like teams and just assume that people listening know what we're talking about. But
yeah, that's fair. I think it would go Mooney there. Connor or Edmonds?
Or Edmonds? Dude, change your lineup. Connor. Dolphins defense is legit. And if they show up again against the Cardinals, the Dolphins defense will have made almost the entire NFC West their bitch. They have played so damn well. Even against the Seahawks where they lost, they actually did play well. And against the Niners and against the Rams, they destroyed.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair point. Robbie Anderson or Brandon Cooks?
Anderson.
Pick one: Corey Davis, Sterling Shepard, Jameson Crowder.
Davis, and it's hard to even consider Crowder if he's going to play or not, but
he is trending up. He likely is to play.
I have to start Crowder and Perriman in one league. It's terrible. In a super flex spot, I have to play both of them. Like anyway, Corey Davis.
Yeah, I go. Oh, actually, no. I'm gonna go Shepard here. Shepard's been doing pretty well last couple of weeks. I do like him. DJ Dallas or CeeDee Lamb?
DJ Dallas. CeeDee Lamb is not in consideration for starting.
Okay, that's fair though. Absolutely. Standard: Gus Edwards or Devin Singletary?
Gus bus.
Yeah, I'm riding that bus too. Here's one: Devontae Parker or Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown.
Really?
What? Why would anybody start Parker right now? What has Tua shown in that one game, even against a good defense? But we're playing another relatively good defense, regardless if people want to admit it. And I should be one of the last people to admit it. And I think he had one target for a touchdown. That was it. Like, I don't know. Makes me nervous.
Fair.
Antonio Brown should at least get 5 or 6 targets from the best quarterback of all time, not from the quarterback that people want to say is going to smash in the NFL. But last week he didn't do anything.
That's fair. We'll close out with Axel's last question here, the deep cut of the week. Quintez Cephas, Gunnar Olszewski, the chef, or Olamide Zacchaeus. And I had to say that right this time because I've been butchering it every time he's come up.
I think we both agree on this, so I will let you answer.
Ask your doctor if Quintez Cephas is right for you.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Cephas is definitely a lock for more touches, more snaps there in that game. So I think you got to roll with him, and hopefully he gets a few catches, maybe gets in the end zone on whatever. But I think he's got way more of upside than the chef or Zacchaeus. Yeah.
What was the question from Jamison Tyone? I want to make sure that I'm watching that all day.
That is okay. Ridley is out for him. He has Tyreek Hill and Allen. Okay, so the question for flex: Judy, Kirk, or Hines?
Judy. Okay, we went Judy. Okay, so I'll be watching Judy, Kirk, and Hines.
Yep. We'll be keeping an eye on that, and we might have the Pittsburgh Pirates coming after us if Naheem Hines goes off for 3 touchdowns. So if they do, it's been a good run, everybody. But yeah, we'll head on out here. We're over the hour mark here. It is 11 o'clock, so at least in the Central Time Zone, we got an hour to kick off. So again, thank you everybody for your questions. If you have more, send them on over to us at KTompkinsII, at GaryHead1, and have a great week, everybody, and good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Guys.